truth is the least of my concerns. I don't want fair-minded jurors. I want them biased as hell. Biased for me. I want 12 lemmings in a box. And the DA wants the exact same thing. So I tried to get rid of his lemmings, and he tries to get rid of mine.
So freaking true. Oh my gosh. Hey everybody, you guys are loving these Lincoln Lawyer episodes. I am too. The series is kind of addictive. So today we're reviewing episode 5.
Every single one of them will scrutinize you from the minute you park at the courthouse. They will judge what you drive, how you dress, every single expression you make, so please don't make any.
So we're starting off with something really realistic here in episode 5. The conversation itself, as well as everything that this main character, what the heck, Mickey is his name. I always forget his name. Everything that Mickey is saying here, totally true. There are, number one, you have to look around you and say, okay, what's my city like? What are the politics like? What is the issue that's actually at stake? What have I been accused of? Did I have to defend myself with a firearm? Am I in a state where firearm defense is kind of looked on as, yeah, we're good with that? The more red-leaning states, or in a more blue-leaning state where they say, you defended yourself with a firearm, we're not really a fan of you at all. So he's telling him, look, your peers are your jury, and even though they get instructed on the law, everybody has biases, everybody has emotions, and people can be affected by all of those things. People are affected by all of those things. So you have to remember, you have to look at reality and look around you and say, okay, what is the jury actually going to be like? Now, jury selection, as Mickey said, is where the trial actually begins, because you actually get to go through and try to pick the jury that's going to be the least amount of bias, or the most actually in favor. That's a really difficult thing to do. A lot of times you're making guesses and just going, oh, okay, so that person's prior occupation, that might make them a little more biased toward us. Or, oh man, that person has been a victim of a crime, not the same one, but maybe they won't like us. Picking the jury pool, a lot of times you're making guesses. You might be making very educated guesses, but they're guesses nonetheless.
My own car. You mean the one that caused pipelines we were jurors making a year?
Lara's Prius is still in the garage.
Good.
Okay, what else?
Interesting statement again, right away. 5 times what your jurors make in a year. Now you would hear that and you would say, well, wait a minute, how does Mickey know what the jurors make in a year? I don't like to say it, but the fact is, a lot of times, more wealthy people manage to get out of jury duty, whereas the less wealthy people don't. So Mickey's stating a pretty straightforward fact. Your juror is going to be a pool of people that don't make a ton of money. This guy, the defendant here, is a very wealthy man, so he's trying to tell him, yeah, don't drive your really expensive car. Don't take your Ferrari to the courthouse, right? Because you might have a jury see you pulling up in that Ferrari and automatically have some bias against you. So trying to give him coaching on every single thing that he can do for himself to help his case.
We've got the best jury consultants in town, and they charge accordingly. Just sign this agreement.
I don't want a jury consultant.
Yes, you do. Yes, you absolutely do. Jury consultants do their job really well for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's ups and downs in every career, but jury consultants are widely used, and especially for somebody like this that has the money to buy them, yes, you absolutely do want jury consultants.
I trust my own instincts and yours, not some consultant I never met.
I appreciate the confidence, Trevor, but we need all the help we can get, so please just sign it, all right?
Let me be clear. No jury consultant.
Going against the advice of your attorney. Bad idea. He's sitting there telling you, Mickey is sitting there telling his client, look, thank you for your confidence, but you have more confidence in me than I do in me. That's not a good thing. You don't want to be in that neighborhood, so to speak. So, look, take the advice of your attorney. He's giving it to you for a reason.
10,000. All in.
Cool.
So clearly, Mickey here is looking for the person who is following the old Harvey Specter advice, who is playing the man, not the hand. And that obviously tells him that this is somebody that can read people. Pretty clear where he's going with this. I like it. His client said, don't hire a jury consultant, so he's looking for somebody that is not a jury consultant. They're a gambler, but they know how to read people, and they can say, yeah, don't like that person, yeah, they're not on your team.
I also know reading people is a skill that has to be practiced, so I'm just giving you the opportunity to do what you do best.
You always were a sweet talker. I can give you a day.
Fair enough. I'll text you the details. Just, one thing my client can't know.
Well, I'm nothing if not discreet.
Now that's interesting. He's hiring this person, or at least, I don't know, made it sound like maybe this lady owes him a favor, and so she's just going to give him this day, so he's not really hiring her, but he is going to be listening to her and listening to her advice on the jury. So really, ethical rules, you really should tell the client that, yeah, I brought this person into the case, I'm working with them. Yeah, it's more dramatic here. We like that, but yeah, Mickey playing in the gray zone here.
Janelle Simmons has made women in Los Angeles less safe. As chief of the Major Crimes Unit, she stood by while an overburdened laboratory neglected rape kits and tainted evidence. Her negligence victimized women again. When you needed her, Janelle Simmons didn't do her job. Vote Robert Cardone for District Attorney.
I'm Bob Cardone, and I approve this message.
That is so real, it's taken me back to November. That's your very typical smear campaign, and it says district attorney here. I don't know if that's what they call them out in California. In Arizona, we have county attorneys, and they don't usually have to advertise that much. Usually they're a little more grassroots campaigns, but when they do, yeah, the commercials look just like this. By the way, your district attorney, your county attorney, way more important positions than people think. Your county attorney can actually have a policy of whether to give people a particular plea in a particular situation, or to give a diversion. So in other words, offering classes to dismiss and in exchange for dismissing the case. They have the authority to make those policies. That person is a very important and powerful person in the criminal justice system in your district or in your county, depending on how it works in your state. If you're not looking into those every single November, you need to, right? Every single November election year, right? You need to. Very important races.
Without your witness, the case falls apart.
We still have his testimony from the grand jury.
Which you can't use if the defense can't cross-examine him. They'll move to dismiss and they'll win.
Not if we can prove Soto killed him. We do that, then the grand jury testimony comes back in.
Can you? If you can prove that Soto was behind this, do it. Otherwise, we need to drop the charges before it gets to a hearing.
Wait, what?
You heard me, Maggie.
So what we had there was a discussion about the hearsay rules. So hearsay, a lot of people are surprised what hearsay actually is. It's an out-of-court statement being used to prove the truth of the matter asserted, and it's the matter asserted in the statement itself. So in this case, when they say out of court, out of the courtroom, out of the trial that this guy is going to be on. So the grand jury testimony can't be used except for a few exemptions, and every state's a little bit different what exceptions they have. It's getting a little more uniform lately, the rules of evidence are. But that's what was going on here. They were trying to say, okay, can we get it to fit into one of these sort of narrow exceptions to the hearsay rule and get that grand jury testimony from the dead guy into the trial?
Elliot's wife was found dead with this guy, Jan Reels.
The yoga gigolo.
That's about the size of it.
Reels was sleeping with a bunch of his female clients, mostly wealthy, mostly married, like Nima Shavar, Anton's wife, now ex-wife.
It's called the "it could have been this guy" defense.
So Anton's potentially dangerous. He's got a motive. Got anything else I can use to point a finger at him?
Yes.
So interestingly enough, it could have been this guy defense, actually one of the more popular defenses, especially for a murder trial, up until the O.J. Simpson trial. And then the O.J. Simpson trial started this defense where you just attack every single piece of evidence. O.J. Simpson's attorneys didn't ever try to say, it could have been this guy. It wasn't O.J. because it could have been this guy, and shine doubt on the case that way. They just attacked every piece of evidence to bring it down a notch in the jury's eyes, to make them go, I don't really trust that. The glove didn't really look like it fit right, and all that kind of stuff. And just put a little bit of doubt in the jury's mind. So, but yeah, it could have been this guy defense. Yeah, still used quite a bit.
How did you find out about it? Never mind, I don't want to know.
If this guy Anton's violent, maybe he threatened Reels into dropping the restraining order.
That's smart, but there's no way to prove it.
Not that he threatened him, but there may be a way to show that he's violent. And you definitely don't want to know.
That you definitely don't want to know really doesn't hold up in court. The other side, the prosecution in this case, is going to want to know, where did you get that evidence from? How did you come across this? And if you don't have a good answer for it, they're probably going to file a motion and get that evidence thrown out.
Maybe you should have paid her more. Not exactly Mr. Big Spender.
There's more of that if you can help me. So when was the last time you saw her?
Not since the last time you asked. Her profile's been dark. She's not working parties no more.
A girl doesn't just disappear without a trace. You got cold feet.
Cold feet on what?
I don't know, but Glory was my key witness in a murder trial. Where would you go for work if you had to start fresh?
The world is my oyster.
Interesting little note here. She thought she was going there to meet a client. She's clearly a prostitute, which means he probably had to commit solicitation of prostitution to actually get her to the room. Just a fun fact.
Hello, and welcome to Jury Duty. I'm Mary Holder, presiding judge of the Los Angeles Superior Court. And as I like to say, there is no justice without you. But let's talk about how you got here. It all begins in the jury services office.
They had me for a minute. Okay, so they're playing this video of the presiding judge, and we know she's the presiding judge from other episodes, right? Of the presiding judge talking to these jurors, and I was about to say, no way in heck is this lady actually presiding over this case that he's working after talking to him in chambers with no one else present. No way is that happening. Okay, it's not happening. It's a video. Well played, Lincoln lawyer. Well played.
How come whenever I get called for jury duty, it's at some court all the way on the other side of town?
Because they assign jurors randomly from all over the county. That way you get a diverse jury pool. That's the theory, anyway.
What's the reality?
The reality is, it doesn't matter where they come from. Almost none of them want to be there. But your entire case depends on them.
Okay, so I'm seeing more and more, especially in this episode, I'm seeing more and more reasons why they're calling this one of the most realistic courtroom dramas. Everything he is saying there is so accurate. No juror actually wants to be in jury duty. Almost everybody, when they say, oh, I got called for jury duty, oh, it's just like the worst thing that could possibly happen to them. Fun fact, if I get called for jury duty, I will walk in and I will tell them right off the bat in the first, what the heck do we call it? The first paper that goes out to ask us all the questions and everything, the first survey, right? They'll ask us, oh, do you or anybody you know work in law enforcement, or are you an attorney? And I'll check that I'm an attorney, and they'll dismiss me right off the bat. An attorney's never going to be in a juror pool or on a jury. It's not going to happen. But the interesting thing is, we might be some of the only people that would actually like to do it, because we're all now so interested in what goes on behind the scenes. What are deliberations like? And we don't get to know any of that. We get to talk to them a little bit. Sometimes you can take a survey afterward to ask exactly why they came to the decision they did. But for the most part, we don't get to see any of that. And we would find it really freaking interesting and probably helpful to our career.
Teller, the DA says the evidence against your client's overwhelming.
What evidence? What evidence? They have no murder weapon, no witnesses, not one drop of blood on my client's clothes. The only thing overwhelming is Mr. Elliott's innocence.
Interesting that Mickey stops to talk to the media there. Doesn't have to do any of that. A lot of times your client doesn't want you to talk to the media, but in this case, he knows this is a very famous case, a very popular case, and he's got to do everything that he can do to actually influence the general public on it, because the general public is the jury pool.
The truth is the least of my concerns. I don't want fair-minded jurors. I want them biased as hell. Biased for me. I want 12 lemmings in a box, and the DA wants the exact same thing. So I tried to get rid of his lemmings, and he tries to get rid of mine.
So freaking true. Oh my gosh. So we act like we're trying to get an unbiased jury, that we're trying to get rid of people that, say, oh, he would be biased toward the state because of X, Y, Z. But really, all that you're doing is trying to get the people that will see the case most favorably for you. So you're trying to get a biased jury. I don't know if anybody's ever going to say that out loud in actual jury selection. In fact, I can almost guarantee they wouldn't, but that's what you're looking for. You want people that are going to help you win the case. And to say anything else is just a freaking lie. Can I say frickin'? I can say frickin'.
I think so.
You should censor me on that anyway. It'd be funny.
This isn't some video game launch, Trevor. This is my domain. Just leave it to me, okay?
And it's my life. I'd like some input into the people deciding it. I built my brand on trusting my instincts. I don't want you cutting anyone unless we make that decision together, okay?
All rise. The Honorable Judge Stanton presiding.
You seated?
Good. Okay. So a judge we haven't seen before up to this point actually presiding over this case. So in previous videos, I've said, okay, it looks like this judge is actually presiding over his case, and thought, wow, that would be just a crazy conflict and she shouldn't be talking to him. So new judge, good. Lincoln lawyer getting it right.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to ask you some questions, then the lawyers will have a turn. There are no wrong answers. Your only obligation is to be truthful. Now, due to the media attention, this will be an anonymous jury. The attorneys have not been provided with your identities. If you slip up and say anything that identifies you, I will be forced to excuse you myself.
Now that's interesting. The judge probably knows that most of the people don't want to be there, and he just told him how to not be there. He just told him, if you accidentally give a personal identifier, I have to excuse you from the jury. So he actually just gave them their ticket out of the courtroom. All right.
I'm an attorney. I'm divorced, no kids, and I live in Los Feliz.
Attorney's out. Nope, not gonna last.
I'm an aerospace engineer at Lockheed Martin. I'm single, and I live in Palos Verdes.
Okay, so that one is the one that Mickey's going to want to go after. I've never even seen the show, and I can tell you in advance, that's the one that he's going to want to go after. He's already talked about in the episode how everybody on the jury is going to make less money than you, and they're going to be judging what you have. And now he just got somebody that he was going, okay, that guy actually makes some decent money. He's going to try to get him on the jury because he's going to say, you're the one guy that might not look down on him for making more than you do or having more than you have.
See, jury selection is the one part of a trial. It's a game. And like any game, it has rules. Each side gets 10 challenges. You can use those to strike any jury you want, but be careful.
Because the replacement might be even worse, right?
Exactly. So the trick is to hold on to as many bullets as you can and get the other side to fire theirs. Plus, this is your chance to introduce yourself and your client to the jury, not just as a lawyer or defendant, but as human beings. So use it.
Yeah, they're doing great in this episode as far as the realism goes. Previous episodes, I've had some problems with some stuff that they've done, but this one is, for the most part, hitting the nail on the head.
Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a daughter, right? She's 13, and what can I say? She's got me wrapped around this little finger. If I ask her, did you make your bed? Did you do your homework? You wash the dishes? She'll say yes, and I'll want to believe her, even when I can see her unmade bed or her school bag unopened. Why? Well, because she's my baby girl, you know? Anyone with me? All right. Now, does anyone feel that way about cops?
Great question and great way to just personify himself to the jury. Told him a little bit about himself. Told him, about his daughter, which, anyway. About his daughter, I don't even remember if he has a daughter up to this point. I was trying to remember if he's actually making that up, which would be kind of hilarious. But it's making him personal to the jury. They're all smiling. They're all like, wow, we like this guy, because the trial already started. Some of these people are probably going to end up actually on the jury, and you want them to like you. There have been juries, or at least individual jurors, that after being interviewed after the trial happens, after the trial's concluded, I should say, that they will say, well, what happened? Why did you make the decision that you did? And there's been jurors that have said, we didn't like his tie. Speaking about the attorney or maybe the defendant or whatever, and just saying, you didn't like his tie and that helped you make your decision? So, making yourself likable in this situation, really good move.
So there wasn't an incident?
What do you mean?
An allegation of misconduct like excessive force, corruption. Maybe he just cut corners?
Objection, Your Honor, to the entire line of questioning.
Counsel, approach.
Your Honor, Their case rests entirely on the shoulders of the cops. I have a right to explore her feelings about law enforcement.
You're not exploring, you're baiting her.
I'm drawing out her biases.
You got 10 challenges, Mr. Hallward.
The interesting thing here, that's pretty real also. Former dramas, and even really, it used to be this way that the jury could hear legal arguments being made. Now, if there is a legal argument to be made in the courtroom, which doesn't happen very frequently, in this case, there probably would have to be because they don't know who these jurors are first. But if there's an argument like about evidence or things like that, they want it done before they even get to the courtroom. They want that stuff decided before trial starts. But in this case, they wouldn't be able to do that. So they have a legal argument to make about this particular objection. They go up to the bench, right in front of the judge. And here in Arizona, they'll actually play white noise so the jury can't hear it. You got static playing over speakers, and they're all leaning in and whispering so that you can't even hear their debate.
We need another way to get to Soto. What about his girlfriend?
Tanya Cruz, 26. Came over from the Philippines 6 years ago, no record.
No money either until Soto started taking care of her.
You think she might know something?
It's worth finding out. If we can turn her, maybe she can give us the shooter.
So now this part I'm going to say is not super real. Yeah, and maybe in some circumstances you're going to have the state is still looking into things as trial approaches, but man, not usually. Generally speaking, the state knows exactly what it's going to be alleging. It's already interviewed witnesses. It already knows the exact direction it's going to take for the trial. So this close to trial, I don't think so.
I'll let that go on account you've never worked with me before.
Look at you, making me think twice about lawyers. We're gonna need some leverage.
Yeah, we are.
But actually, the other interesting thing about that scene, it's striking me just now, they may not have been talking about the case that we were just watching. I don't think they were talking about Mickey's case. They were probably talking about this one that's supposed to at least seem disconnected from Mickey's case. The one with it sounds like it was human trafficking or something like that, those charges. So if they're talking about that one, just a couple episodes ago, they actually went through the indictment. They went before the grand jury. So that would indicate they're in the very beginning stages of the trial process. So in that case, yeah, they actually could be talking about, let's go find some people. Let's go talk to some more people.
This case may involve testimony from experts in the field of firearms. Would anyone have a problem accepting their opinion?
In the state of California, yeah, you're gonna have a ton of people that are not gonna want to listen to a firearms expert.
Your Honor, the defense would like to make a Wheeler motion.
I'm sorry, what?
On what grounds?
Mr. Golands has used 9 of his challenges, 7 of which have been on women. In my view, that's called discrimination.
It's called offensive. I have a valid reason for every juror I've cut.
I'm sure we would love to hear them.
It doesn't even make sense. Your client is accused of murdering his wife. I want all the women I can get.
Then why did you cut so many?
Mr. Golands, save it. You're reaching here, Mr. Holler. Motion denied.
Yeah, he's just actually trying to get the state to keep the woman. They have a woman and a man that came down to 7 and 27. One's a woman, one's a man. He's just trying to trick the state into cutting the man, using his last strike on the guy that he actually wants to get rid of, that Mickey wants to get rid of. Nice, well played.
What?
Juror 10 just spoke to the clerk. She thought you were following her in the parking lot at lunch.
What? That's ridiculous.
God damn it, Trevor. Were you trying to intimidate a juror?
No. I was trying to find my car. The one you made me drive. The Prius. Do you have any idea how many Priuses are in Los Angeles? Is the judge gonna cut her?
No, I said there's not enough evidence you did anything wrong.
There, see?
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that she still thinks you did. So now I have to kick her. With my last challenge.
What's fascinating there is that stuff like that happens, and just like Mickey's client said, he didn't do anything wrong, right? But this juror thought that he did, and so now he has to get rid of somebody that he actually liked, that he actually thought would be a really good juror for them, for his side. So, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of jurors could just say, man, I saw somebody that looked just like that guy, and in the back of their mind, their brain just makes them think, yeah, it was that guy. It was the defendant. He was following me. Because, you know, they're in this jury. They've never been in any situation like this before, or probably not. And it's a murder trial, and they're going, man, I'm sitting in the room with a guy that's being accused of murder. Brain starts to play games on him. So, yeah, something like that. Totally legit. That's the end of episode 5. Can't wait for episode 6. This really is a good show. So make sure to check out the other episodes. We've already done 1 through 4. They're on the YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay, so I gotta pause it because I just realized we've had subtitles on this whole time.
I know, I've known that from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna see if it works.
All right. We're at a half hour already? Dadgum, that's gonna be a long video. Oh, I hurt myself in jiu-jitsu earlier this week, TikTok. Got a back problem, need to relax for a second. Oh, and then I'm gonna go right back at it. Yeah. This part's too fun though. Let me see what we get after jury selection, because this part's too interesting. This is good.